Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's ClaritySoft webinar. Today is Tuesday, November 12th, 2019, and I'm Susan Arnold, Implementation Specialist here at ClaritySoft. Our topic today is segmenting and searching your data. Once you get your database set up and you get all of your data in, however many records it is, one of the main reasons for switching to a database like ClaritySoft is to be able to search your data on different criteria, by city, by state, by territory, by product interest, all kinds of different things. Whatever your custom fields are, you're able to go in and do those kinds of searches. Maybe in quotations, you want to find all the quotes you've done this year so far, or the opportunities that you've won. So all kinds of ways, and learning how to do these searches and set up these kinds of filters also applies to creating those same filters in reports. So it's a technique that you want to learn and practice and get really good at. And then it also will help you as you set up reports and set up the filters that you want for different reports in ClaritySoft. So today, the topics we're going to cover are quick search, which is the box in the upper left corner of the screen where you can type in a few characters and it will quickly search and match all records in the list view for that combination of characters you've typed. Global search, which allows you to search across leads, accounts, and contacts modules at the same time. Advanced search, which has different forms for searching. You have a form filter, a standard filter, a time filter, and a product filter if you're using products and services in the database. And the advantage to using the advanced search is that you can save your searches or you can save your filters once you've got it set up and working. So you could have a multi-tiered filter that you've created to find very specific records in the database, and then you can save it as a view and give it a name, and then you are able to very quickly pick that saved view from a drop-down list and run it again. And all the data will update itself according to any new records that have been added to the database that fit the criteria. And then the last thing we'll talk about, how to use your searches. Once you've created a list, what can you do with it besides look at it? Well, you could email the contacts, you could view the activities, you could move from one position in the database to somewhere else. If you search activities, you can view the accounts. So a lot of different ways that you can use your searches that help give you some flexibility in ClaritySoft. So those are the things we're planning to cover during our session today. All right. In the database I have here, the first thing we want to talk about is the quick search. This bar across the top here basically does have different filters that are already built into ClaritySoft. And our quick search box is in the top left. All of the modules have the quick search box. So you are able to use it in each of the different modules to search very quickly. And especially if you have a lot of records in the database, you do not want to have to scroll through, 1,000, 2,000 records to find the one specific record that you want to work with. So you can come up here and click in the quick search box and then just start typing part of what you're looking for. You do not have to type the whole thing. And you either can sit here and wait a few seconds and ClaritySoft will automatically start searching after you stop typing, or to speed it up a titch, you can press the enter key. So you can see here, I've typed in NOR and I'm getting 4 records, all with NOR in the name. So I have Balthazar Bottling in Northport, Norcross Carpet, North Carolina, North Star. So what I want you to know about this is that whatever you type in the quick search box, that does not have to be at the beginning of the account name. It can be anywhere in the account name. So if you aren't real sure what the name of the account is, just type what you know, and then when you bring up the list, your record probably should be in there, okay? So, and in some cases, if you're not real sure how things are spelled, the less you type in here, the better. So once you get to here, if you wanted to go to Norcross Carpet Cleaners, you can click on the file folder icon, open the record, and do whatever you want to do to edit the record and update it, okay? Once you're done with this set of characters, click the little X. That will clear the typing out, and you'll be back to your complete list. And like I said, this works in all the modules. If I go to contacts, in the quick search box here, I can either type part of the company name or I can type part of a contact person's name. So for example, if I typed in DES, I will get all of the people that are associated with Odessa Inc. Okay, so if I'm typing a company name, it will pull up all contact records for that company. If I type in a person's name, I will get a specific person. If there's more than one Cindy in here, I would get multiple people with the name. And it can be a first name or a last name. So for example, down here, I've got Isabella Stone. If I type in Stone, I will get Isabella. And I have two others. Okay, now this one's interesting. I got Isabella Stone, Jason Stone, but I got Mace Hoops. Why did I get that? Because in the account name, Moonstone. So it looks in both the account name and the contact person's name to match the characters. Okay, so that's your quick search. It works in all the modules, as I said. And at the account level, you can type the account name, or you can also type part of a phone number. If you and your team have been very diligent in entering phone numbers in a consistent manner, then you actually can search on them. So for example, if I wanted to find everyone who was in the 819 area code, I can come up here and type 819 hyphen. And that pretty much tells the system it has to be 819 followed by a hyphen. So that limits it to the area code. And so I can pull it up that way. Now, if you've got a mixture of dots or parentheses and it's all kind of jumbled, then you aren't going to be as successful in searching. So that might warrant cleanup of phone numbers if you want to look up by a phone number. If I wanted to look up by a middle exchange, I can type in this, for example, and even follow it with a hyphen. And then I'm getting this middle exchange number here. Now this one's kind of odd, but I guess that still works, just an odd area code. So it works. So that's another thing at the account level that you can do. You can do the company name or a phone number search in the quick search box. All right, so that's quick search. And it's exactly what it's for, a quick search. The next one is working with our Spyglass menu. Under here, you will see advanced search, global search, segment search, filter, and then views. We are going to work with advanced search and global search. The segment search, we don't use a whole lot anymore. That really applies mostly to offline setup, and the fields that are used in that search, we don't necessarily use in our newer databases now. And filter, you don't really need to use because it's found under advanced search. The advantage to using advanced search is that you can save your searches as views. So that's why we want to do that. So let's look at advanced search. And we see that we actually have 4 ways to search. As I said at the beginning, you have a form filter where you can put criteria into 1 or more fields here to search on. You have a standard filter where you can select a field, set the criteria, and then you can add multiple levels to it. You have a time filter, which is a great way to search over a range of time, and any date field that you have in your account record can be searched on, okay? And then if you are using the products and services in ClaritySoft, you can do a product filter looking for specific items, and you can look in the sales module quotations or opportunities. So this is a nice way to pull up all of the accounts who have purchased a specific item from you. And you could even include a time filter with it. So it could be anybody who purchased a specific item last year or this year so far. So a lot of capabilities here, all in this one option. So I'm going to do something really simple and say that I want to find everyone in my list who's in the state of Ohio. Okay, so just a simple search here. And I can see everyone in Ohio, and I have 9 records. Now, maybe what I'd like to do is I'd like to also find all of the people that are in a particular industry type in Ohio, okay? Well, right now, I don't see that information in my columns. I could still search on it. I can go here now to edit my view, and I could put the criteria in to say, okay, the industry type, I want to find all the manufacturers in Ohio. Okay, the search works fine, and I'll get a list, but me being who I am, I want to see that the industry type actually is there, okay? So before I would do a search on this, let me cancel this. I would go to my vertical ellipsis button here and select column settings. Then I can bring over my industry type field, place it where I want. I may also want product interest. Again, what I want, just decide what I want to search on. Here's a status field. Here's a territory. So I can bring across any fields that I would like to see the data for and search on. Once I click apply, those fields are now in my columns, which gives me a better idea of where I'm missing data. You can see product interest here is pretty blank, so that's not going to be much of a help if I search. My industry type is a bit spotty as well. And my territories are pretty good. But then you can see where you're missing information. So if I go back to do, let's do all of the active customers in retail, okay? So I'm going to go to advanced search under Spyglass, and I'm going to pick the status field of active customer and the industry type of retail. So I'm looking on 2 criteria here. And I click search. And so now I should see all active customers and all industry type of retail. Now that list may or may not be 100% accurate, because if all my records are not marked with the correct status, or all my records are not marked with an industry type, I may be missing some. So that's why it's very, very important for you and your team to make sure that these fields that you want to do searches on are set up accurately and the data is filled in. It's not the most fun thing to have to do in the database, but it is important when you get down to doing these kinds of functions. Okay, so with advanced search, one of the things I said that you can do is save your search. So if you wanted to save this filter of active customers in retail for purposes of pulling it up very quickly at some other point, you can come up here where you see Advanced Search View in red. We already clicked on the Edit View to make a change, but I can click on Save View, and then I'm allowed to give it a name. So I could say Retail Active Customers. And it helps to give the name, you know, that names the filter so you know what it is. Now, notice I have this in my drop-down list here. I can very quickly go back to All Accounts, which is going to show me all my accounts that I have, which is 205. And then I can say, well, I want to see my retail active customers. Bingo, right there. All right. Now, if I go back to All Accounts, because this is always a question that comes up, is what happens if you add a new record? So let's say, let me see, where's one that I can make? Let's try this one. Let's say these guys just became an active customer. So I'm going to change their status to active customer, and they are in the retail industry. Okay. So remember, Aircastle Limited. Come back here, choose retail active customers, and Aircastle Limited is now part of that list. What you're saving as a view is actually a filter. So whenever new things get added to the database that match the criteria that you have for a view, it's automatically pulled in the next time you run that filter. So that's very important to understand, because a lot of people think, oh, that's a fixed list and I have to keep going in and redoing it. No, absolutely not. That would be useless. So here you can go directly from all your accounts to your active retail customers because you saved that filter, and it will bring up whatever matches the criteria that you set. So I just want everybody to understand that. Okay. Now for views, you can create as many views and save them as you want. You'll just get a nice big long drop down list here. The views that you create are for you. Only you will see them when you log into the database. However, if you have created some filters that you know are useful to your other users, then you can go back to the Spyglass button, go to Views, and you can see here, Retail Active Customers. I could rename it. I could edit it, edit the filter for it. I can clone it or make a copy of it so that then I can maybe add additional criteria to it without creating it from scratch. I can delete it if I no longer want it. And the important one is I can share it. So I can say, well, I want to share this with these guys because they could use this. Then the next time one of them logs in, when they go to that drop-down list, they will see the active customers retail or active retail customers in their list. And so you can share it. Now, the other thing will be that they can see that They won't be able to edit the view because you created it, but they can see it and use it, okay? So views can be really helpful, and these are available, again, in all the modules. You go to Advanced Search, and anytime you do Advanced Search, you will be able to save it. If you go to Filter, no, you won't be able to save that. So always go to Advanced Search, and then you have the option. And you have the option of doing a lot of other things too. Okay, before I go to some other modules and do some different kinds of searches using the time filter, I wanted to touch base on the global filter or global search. Global search, when you bring it up, it's available to you in the leads module, the accounts module, and the contacts module. And so when you bring it up, you'll see here you can include leads and you can include contacts if you want. And then you're able to search for either a company name or a contact person name. It might be you have a new lead or a new account to bring in, and you don't know if it's in the database. So you want to check. And rather than having to go search for it in leads and then come over to accounts and search for it a second time, you can do it all at once, where you can say, I want to search both leads and accounts. And if I type in here and I type in, again, part of a name, it will search both leads and accounts, and it will tell you what it found. Now, let me see here. I had one that I was using that was going to find both, and I forgot what I did. Let me do that. And I'm just typing and letting it find itself. Oh, now I can't figure out what I had. There was one that came up with a lead. I forgot what my sample was. Anyway, it will come up with something that's a lead, and it will tell you the type here. Oh, I know what it was. I think it was this. Nope. But if you type part of it, it'll say whether it is an account or a lead, and it will give you the name, and then it will tell you the address, location, the phone number, and who the owner is, okay? Where this global search can be really important is if in your particular database you have your users set up to see only their own records when they log in. They can only see their own records and they cannot see beyond them to anyone else. And this global search can be really helpful because if one of them does come up with a new lead, then they can use the global search to search for that company and see if it already exists in the database and what other user may already own it. This is where it's really, really important, because then they aren't entering something into the database as what would be a duplicate, because they can't see it, okay? They won't know that it's a duplicate. So if you are in that situation, teach your people how to use the global search so that they can search ahead of time when they want to add a new lead, especially to find out if it already exists and who the person is that already owns that account. It helps because then you're not accidentally contacting the same company, two different people, and looking a little confused. So use that global search to help you. And that, like I said, it's available in the leads module, accounts, and contacts. And that will help your users. Okay, so let's go to opportunities. And Remember when you get to a lot of the modules, especially opportunities, quotes, and sales, up here at the top, they will have a default filter set for showing you all of the active opportunities. In this case, it's active opportunities that have a close date of this month, which is November. So I only have 3. And you probably want to change to all opportunities before you start running some sort of a filter. Okay. So what you can do now is once you've got them listed, always at the bottom, you're going to see the total number of records. And for opportunities, you're going to see the total value of that whole list. Okay. So if I wanted to find all my opportunities that were won, okay, and they were won in the last quarter, I can create an advanced search for that. So I can come up here, go to advanced search. And first of all, I'd want to choose on the form filter, the sales stage as being 1. Then I can go to the time filter tab and select the close date. And notice here, I could put in a specific date range, but if I do that, then I'm locking myself in to that range. What I want is it to flow forward with me. So if I wanted to see all the opportunities that were won last month or the last 2 months, or like I said, the last quarter, I can come here and click in this and choose day, week, month, quarter, or year. This would be last year, 2018, rather than 2019. Well, I want to do last quarter. So we want to see how much money we brought in last quarter. So here we go, close date. These are September, should be July, August, September. We don't have any in July, but we've got August and September close dates. All of the stages are won, and this is the total value of those opportunities. Okay, so this one, if I save this, then what will happen is when we hit January, all of a sudden the quarter we're currently in, October, November, December, will become last quarter. So this date will move forward with you. Once you set that filter, you don't have to change anything. As you start to view it, you're always going to see whatever the last quarter was, okay? And it'll roll forward. When you hit the next quarter, the current quarter becomes last quarter. Same thing like with the month. If you did it for last month, then it would pull up everything last month. So use these to help you. These time filters are great, especially in reports. And like I said at the beginning, learning how to use these filters in your list view applies directly to them in your reports, because you create filters in your reports, and the time filters are wonderful because once you create that report with a time filter of last week, last month, in the next 3 months, you know, what opportunities do we have that are closing in the next 3 months? Then you're looking ahead, and they just keep moving with you as the days progress and the dates progress. So think about that and come up with ones that'll be really helpful to you and your team, okay? So like here's one last month. This one's already here. I don't have anything. I didn't do anything in October, okay? One last quarter is what I just picked. One this month, there probably is nothing. I haven't done anything in November. I'm not a very good salesperson. So these are forecasts this month, which would have a close date of this current month. Okay, they're not one, they're in a forecast stage. So these filters that you create under the advanced search can be really helpful. And you can go to views, and you will see a list of all of them here. So a lot of them are built in, but you can create as many as you like. You also can choose which one is your default view. See right here, active this month is set as my default view. That's why when I go to opportunities, it has that set as the view, because it's set there. If I wanted to turn that off, I could. And I can set whatever I want. I might want to set all active. Okay? So be creative. Go to each module. Think through how you can use that advanced search in creative ways to help you see the records that you want to see. All right. So we used a time filter. I want to go back, use a standard filter. Let me do this. So back here, I've got industry type, and you can see it's kind of spotty, where I have certain records that are not filled in. So I can use the searching to help me find all these blank records so that I can then update them more easily. Again, I've only got 200 records, but if you've got 3,000 or 4,000 in here, that becomes a bit of a daunting task to search them out. But there's a simple way. If you go to the Spyglass Advanced Search, and this time go to the Standard Filter tab, and then you're going to select the industry type field, and these are in alphabetical orders. Oh no, but here's something to know. Industry type is not in here. It's at the bottom of the list below this dashed line, because all your custom fields display down here. Okay? So if you don't see it, just keep going down until you see this dashed line. And then we see industry type. Then you get some comparisons here. Equal, not equal, greater than or equal to, so on and so forth, contains, begins with, and what I want is empty. Then I click search. So what I'm going to get are all of the records where the industry type field is empty. And I can see that out of 200 and some, 169 have this field as being empty. So this really needs to be fixed, okay? And once you've got this, then you can use another technique that ClaritySoft has, which is a wonderful technique. And you can go over to the left here, and you can click. What you want to do is look for ones that have the same industry type. So let me see, what have I got here? This is, I don't even remember what my industry types are, but I'm going to say Alabama Gas Company, Austin Energy and Lighting. And I can just keep scrolling down and click in the ones that I know would have the same industry type. Okay. And I'll just do those couple. So I just go down and click in the check boxes. Then I go to list actions. The list actions menu is anything to do with more than one record, a list. And I have a group edit. And then I'm going to do all records marked as checked. And then I get to choose my field. So I go down to the bottom again, industry type, and I get to pick what industry type are they in. And see, none of them match energy companies. So we're just going to put them in, what the heck, manufacturing. Okay. So if I click apply, those 3 records are now updated, and they're going to disappear from this list. Why? Because that field is no longer blank. So don't panic if you do something like this and then suddenly your record disappears. It's the filter is telling it this has to be blank. As soon as you fill it in, it's no longer blank. So you just keep working here and finding the ones that are in a particular industry type, and eventually you'll get down to no more. See, I'm down to 167. I got rid of them. So you just keep going and you can do an update that way. So it's, you know, you might want to hone yours down a little bit more. I mean, you could search by state and do it by state or whatever you want. So that's one way to use the standard filter. And when you're done, just cancel it and you go back to your full list. But you will have updated those records. Okay. So what was it? Alabama. Here it is. See, Alabama Gas Company is manufacturing, and whatever other ones I did. Here, Austin Energy and Lighting is manufacturing. So it will update those multiple, those selected records. Another way to use a standard filter is if you wanted to search on state and you wanted to find everybody in 2 different states. If you go to advanced search and you go to the form filter, you can only type 1 state in here. But if you go to the standard filter, you can say, I want state, and you could use equals. However, equal is very exact. And if you don't know if all your people put in OH for Ohio or whether they put in OHIO, you don't want to use equals, because if you put equal and then you type OH, you're going to lose all the ones that are OHIO and vice versa. So I always do contains, and then it loosens up a little bit. So I know if I do OH, it's going to pick up both of them because O and H are in the short form and the long form. So that'll get me Ohio, but now I also want Michigan. So what I do is I click the plus sign, and then I can say, or the state contains MI for Michigan. So here I'm saying I either want the state to be Ohio or I want the state to be Michigan. This is how you can do multiple ones. And I could click the plus and I could, you know, add Indiana as well. So if I click search now, my state should be either Michigan or Ohio. Okay. And you can check this pretty easily just for your own visual. If I click on the state heading, it sorts by the state. So then I've got all the Ohio's together and all the Michigans together. And if I click it again, it reverse sorts it. So Michigan is at the top in Ohio. So any column heading that you click on, it will sort by that column. So that's another technique that you can use. And again, see, because I have the state here, I know that I got the right information. If I didn't have the state column here, I'd just be guessing that I got Ohio and Michigan. So always, whatever field you're going to search on, put into your columns, because that will help you know that you got the right data. All right, so that's the standard filter. Practice with that and set things up there. And then again, if you want to save it, you can save it. You know, if you wanted to add that you wanted all the manufacturers in Michigan and Ohio, you could do that. So you can add as many levels as you want. In fact, let me just go, because what I can do here, I don't have to go to the standard filter to do that. I can go to the form filter and say, all right, I want all of the manufacturers. My standard filter is still here. This is on the form filter. They all work together, and if I wanted to add a time filter, I could do that. So I could search, and there, all manufacturers, either Michigan or Ohio. So practice, practice, practice. When you start doing this, it's actually kind of fun to see what you get. And then you start realizing maybe how much data cleanup you have to do to get the right answers. Okay, so now how can I use this? We already saw one example where you can search and then you can do a group edit. How else can you use these searches? Let's go back to my retail active customers list. So I have 14 people in this list, and let's say I want to email them. Well, I'm in accounts, so I can't email from accounts, but I can click here to select all the records, go to list actions, and then notice I have view contacts, view activities. So if I view the contacts, and I would do all records marked as checked because the number of records I have is less than 100 that I'm displaying. If it's greater than what you're displaying, choose all filtered records. And now I'm in the contacts module. So for the 14 accounts that I had selected, I have 16 contacts. So that just means one or two of my accounts have more than one person. Like here, Tuesday Company, I have 2 people, okay? No problem, I can email them all. So then I click here to select all my records, go to list actions again, and do email contacts. Now, if you have the marketing module, then you can go to the marketing email. But if you don't, you can go to email contacts, which will go out through your Outlook or your Gmail. Again, it's all records marked as checked in this instance. And it will bring up a form. All your recipients will be listed over here. It will tell you you have 14, so 2 of my 16 people don't have an email address, or they're marked as do not send an email. And then up here, I have my email that it's going to send from, and I can either manually type an email here and send it, or if I've prepared an email template, then I can choose it. Don't have anything very exciting. But with your email templates that you design, or even in here, you can insert a field. You see the insert field button? I can type something, click here, and choose what field I want to pull into the email. And then for each one sent, it would pull in the individual information from the record, okay? So that's how I can very quickly, easily filter at accounts, select those accounts, view contacts under list actions, and then select those contacts, list actions, email. Now, the only thing I'll say is you do need to pay attention if you're going out through your Outlook that you're not sending out thousands at one time. This is your Outlook and your Gmail are usually restricted on how many you can send out at one time. So you need to check on that before you go crazy. All right. But notice under the list actions, if I go back to accounts, I could also, for these accounts, view all the activities. So it would let me see all the activities that I have done with these active retail customers. So you can go there and see all your activities. All right. So explore list actions. The other thing I could do with this list if I wanted to, and this would be true in all the modules, is I could export the list out to Excel. Now, it's possible you might be restricted on that. Your admin person might restrict you on exporting to Excel. So if the option's not there, they've turned it off. But when you do this, you get to choose, well, what fields do I want? I want the address and I want the city, because maybe you want to know where they are. Maybe you're planning a trip or something like that. You can pull over the industry type. I think this is one I don't need. And so on and so forth. So pull in all the data that you want to see about the account. And let's see, since I've got city, we'll bring state over and all of that good stuff. Here's zip code. And then I click apply, and all 14 accounts will be exported out to Excel. And then I can take that spreadsheet and plan a trip or whatever I want to do with it. So you can see that it kicks it out, and you can got your phone number there and stuff like that. Now, if you also wanted the contact information, then you could view the contacts, and then it would kick the contacts out with the email address and phone number and that information there. So you could do it either from the account level or view contacts like we did for the email and do that. So you can export to Excel. You can view contacts. You can view activities. In activities, you can search, and then you can view either contacts or accounts. So you could search for a particular set of activities and then view all the accounts associated with it, or the contact people. Also notice you can export to Excel here. So go and explore your different modules and the list actions that you can do. In opportunities, you could search for a list of opportunities that have an upcoming close date and then email them, okay, or export or view accounts contacts, okay? So go and look at that, because it gives you a way to move from place to place within the database and not have to do a search, you know, in two different places. You search in one, and then you can select the records and view the corresponding records in another module. So that's really everything that I have for today. Hopefully you've gotten some ideas, and you can go back to your own database and look at it and start to set up some advanced search views and save them for yourself or for your people. As you work, if you think, well, it would be nice if I had a field that I could search on, so that I can pull up by an industry type or perhaps a territory or whatever. If you don't have that in your database, then you certainly can add that as a custom field. If you're not the admin person, your admin person can add it. Because your whole goal with using ClaritySoft is to make life easier for you, to be able to find things more easily, to organize them, to update them, to, you know, work with them. And there is a lot of flexibility here that you can use. So hopefully you'll try some techniques that you saw. Let me go back to my PowerPoint here. And first of all, thank you for attending and listening attentively today. If you need some help with this and you're not in your Quick Start onboarding program with either myself or Linda, then you can call tech support at 888-838-7487, extension 2, or email them at support@claritysoft.com. And then future topics, if you have ideas for future topics, things you'd like to learn a little bit more about, then email us at info@claritysoft.com. We're trying to create some training recordings that are more focused on a specific topic. So we're trying to come up with ideas for that. So anything that you can send to us will be very, very helpful. So with that, go have a wonderful rest of the day, and we will talk to you soon.